Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's FearsomeFire here, and I am back with another Super Mario Odyssey video. And in today's video, guys, I'm going over the top 5 places in Super Mario Odyssey that the developers did not intend for you to be able to get to. Now, although some of these places can be really hard to actually get to, all of them can be done in the game without using hacks, completely vanilla, so I'm going to go over each one right now. So this one takes place in the Metro Kingdom, and it's in the Rocket sub-area, and there's actually a way to get on top of the big building that you're kind of going around as you complete this little sub-area. Now, the thing you want to do is you want to get over to the Secret Moon, vaulting up a high-rise, and then from here we can do some really advanced movement to actually make it up. So the advanced movement that we want to do is we want to throw our cap right off the side or the edge of this little platform, and then we want to do a cappy roll jump to make it past the wall, so go at like a diagonal angle and then do a homing cap throw along with some other crazy homing cap jumps against the wall to barely get enough distance to dive and make it on top. So once you're up here, there really isn't much to do, but it's cool to just run around and look around. There's no coins, there's nothing really of interest up here, but it's cool to look down, and we can also see some textures on the top that you usually can never even see in the game, not like it really matters. But on top of this like metal thing right here, there's no other spot in the game as far as I know where you can like even see these textures, so you know they're kind of unintended, but just being up here is really cool, and the fact you can actually get up here using advanced movement just barely is honestly super sweet. The next one on this list takes place in the Lynching Kingdom. It's pre-Peace Lynching Kingdom, so it's before you actually grab the multi-moon at the top of the mountain. It's right after you beat Spewart. You can actually get to a really cool secret area here. So usually when you're going through the different story moons in the Lynching Kingdom, the second story moon that you get from grabbing this lever and then, obviously grabbing the moon, it actually raises up this land below the lava. Now, as it turns out, this land is actually here before this, these platforms that you're supposed to be able to use to progress through the level. It's actually here before you press the lever, before you grab the moon, and we can do some pretty interesting out-of-bounds stuff to actually get to it early. So to do this, you want to bring over a pan bro from this area, and you want to bring it over to this corner right here, like where the edge of the mountain is. And you also want to make sure that you have a turnip here as well. You want to throw in this corner, and you want to actually jump using the pan bro up at this corner, and if you get like the right timing, the right angle, it doesn't even take that long. It's actually pretty easy to do. You can actually glitch through, and from here, once you glitch through, you can uncapture the pan bro, and then you can long jump from out of bounds over to this platform under the lava. So like the previous platform, there also really isn't too much to do here, but it's still really cool to look around. You can see what's above you. You can see the little torch moon that you're supposed to get. Obviously, we can't access the torch moon or grab this moon right here because, we don't have a Podobo to make it hot or activate it, but it's still cool to just run around. It's actually a lot of fun. I actually found myself running around here for like 10 minutes straight, just like in circles on this land. It's a lot more cool or just interesting when it's underground. If you fall into the void, and yeah, it's pretty awesome overall. Alright guys, so the next one on this list is really interesting. It takes place in the Moon Kingdom, and in the Moon Kingdom there's this 2D sub-area that you just go through, you grab yourself 2 moons, you leave, no big deal, and it's on this like kind of like flat plane. But as it turns out, we can actually climb this flat plane. So the way to climb this plane is to do a cappy roll jump over to where it is and start wall jumping against this plane. And what you can do, because we have moon gravity and our wall jumps make us go much higher, we can alternate between the front and the back of the plane to slowly climb our way up. Now, if you do this long enough, you can eventually make your way all the way on top, and it's completely solid. It's kind of just like this flat area that you can walk on top of in 3D, and allows you to get a little nice vantage point. You don't have a really good camera angle, but it's still really cool, and you can look around, and it's really interesting how we can use the wall jump physics. We can kind of abuse them really hardcore with the moon gravity to pretty much climb this thing as much as we want, and it's just really cool overall, and I really like this secret area. Alright guys, so now we're starting to get to some of the really interesting ones, and the next 2 on this list are both really hard to get to. So number 2 on the list is in the darker side. So what you can do is you can actually make your way through the level, and you can grab Glydon, and once you grab Glydon near the end of the level, you can kind of take him and then go backwards, and if you shake your controller right when you go into a wind gust at like the perfect time, you can get a lot of height off this. So you can get a lot of height, and then you can shake your controller over and over again, and you can make your way almost to the top of this beginning part of the darker side. So once you make your way over with the Glidon, you want to uncapture from him, and then you want to start doing some homing cap throws to just barely gain height in this one specific section of the wall. It is really, really difficult to do these homing cap throws because if you make one mistake at any point, you're going to lose so much height, and you're probably just going to want to restart, honestly. Now this took me like 3 hours to actually perform. It was super duper hard. You can technically do this without Glidon, but I mean, you know, doing it from all the way from the bottom is really, really difficult. And I also did see somebody once actually do it without doing these homing cap throw wall jumps. They just used Glidon and they got like a perfect amount of height from the wind, and they just barely made it on top. Now this one's really, really cool because you are like super duper high up once you're on top of here. Again, there isn't much to do, there's no coins. Everything up here is completely solid though, and you can look down and just look about, and I'm not really sure about this, but it seems like it's even more high up than the highest building in the Metro Kingdom. Like, you are really, really high up here when compared to like other high up places in Odyssey. So the fact you can actually be found a way, or we have a way to make it up here, is super duper cool. So after I was done up here, I did a cappy roll jump to make it off, and just jumping off from up here kind of showcases how high up we really are. So you guys are seeing that right now. It's really, really cool, and you fall for quite a while, and just looking down at the darker side below you is honestly really interesting. It gives you this really, really cool vantage point, and honestly this is one of my favorite spots in the game. Alright guys, and now we are on to the number one spot. It takes place in the Snow Kingdom, and it uses a glitch that was kind of recently patched out of the game. However, you can still do it if you have an older version of the game, and there's footage of people doing it in the past. I personally have an older version of the game, so I was able to perform it anyways, but I should go over that. If you're trying to do this glitch now, it's not going to work, but I mean, if you just downgrade versions, then, you know, you could get this glitch to work. It's really not that much of a big deal. So the glitch you're going to be using is called the wet nut glitch, or nut hovering, and you pretty much use this acorn, you throw it in the water. It has to be wet for some reason, nobody really knows why, but you throw it in the water, and then from here, if you throw the acorn and dive into it at the perfect angle, you can then pick it up and you can continue to gain height. Now this glitch is very, very, very difficult to perform. The time frame that you have for each dive into the nut to actually, you know, gain height from it and not just, you know, drop the nut and fall and not pick it up again is only within a couple of frames. So you need to be really, really good at this to do it multiple times and get enough height. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to bring the nut up on top of the Odyssey, and from here you want to perform the wet nut glitch 3 times, and then throw it with the by shaking your controller by using motion controls to get it on top of the platform, the painting platform. Now the nut is on a timer, so if you don't touch it within a certain amount of time, it will disappear, and it's not that lenient. You have to pretty much always be holding it or it's going to disappear. So after you throw it on top of the painting platform, you then need to go back to the Odyssey, and you need to perform Snowdram to then make it onto the painting platform yourself, and I'll do it fast enough so you can actually hit the nut so it doesn't disappear. Now, for you guys that don't know, doing Snowdram to make it onto this painting platform requires very tight movement as well, and it's one of the hardest tricks in the entire game, so that's part of doing this. You need to do Snowdram. You also have to do it really, really quickly so the nut doesn't disappear. So now that you're on the painting platform with the nut or acorn, you kind of want to stand behind / next to the painting, and you want to face in this specific angle to go to a certain spot above the ice wall surrounding the Snow Kingdom. So from here, you're going to want to perform the wet nut glitch again, and the amount of times that it takes to perform over and over again varies a little bit, but it's anywhere from like 10 to 15 depending on how good your movement is after for like what you can get away with. So it's like 10 to 15 nearly frame perfect inputs. I'm not going to say frame perfect, but the timing is very, very tight, and to do all of that, you can then, you know, perform this glitch, and there's this one section of the ice wall that we can actually stand on. Now, if you mess up any of these nut hovers as you're trying to make it to the top of this ice wall, then you pretty much need to go through the whole entire process again to get the acorn or nut back on top of the painting platform. You need to do Snowdram again. Me personally, I failed this like 40 times before I finally made it on top of the ice wall. So now that we are on top though, you finally did it. We are in what I personally think is the coolest spot to be on top of in Odyssey that the developers obviously did not intend for us to be able to get on top of. You can walk around up here. There's certain parts of this massive wall that will kind of make you slide off, but you actually have a pretty good amount of room to stand on top of, and we can just gaze about at the Snow Kingdom around us from a vantage point that we were never ever intended to be able to get to. Now you can also see me, I actually got to the edge of like the back of this wall, and you can see there's no textures at all behind it, and I even eventually did fall off, and I ended up going into snapshot mode to look around and give ourselves another really cool view of the Snow Kingdom that you'd normally never be able to get. While this location is definitely the most difficult out of all the ones on this list, I also believe that it really does have, you know, it's just so cool, it's so interesting that you can actually make it here. A spot that just seems so like out of place in this game, a spot that nobody would have ever thought you could actually get to. You can do some crazy stuff to actually make it up here, and you can just get like a really nice view. And honestly, for that reason alone, it's why I put this one at number 1 on the list. So that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Hopefully you guys found what was on this list pretty entertaining. A little while ago, I made another video showcasing a secret spot in a dark side sub area. So if you guys haven't seen that and you're still interested in this concept, I'd definitely recommend go checking out that video. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and have a wonderful day.